Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you in Windows application the complete user registration, the login, change password and profile update tutorial. In part 1 I will show you how to register the new user details and save into SQL Server database. And here we got the output. Now let's enter new user registration. The username I'm entering the Charan. The password is Charan123 Charan. Now the repassword I'm entering the wrong one. If I click tab, see here we got an alert message, password is not matching. Click OK. Let's add the correct password Charan123 and the email charan@gmail.com. The gender I'm selecting male and the location is India. Now before insert this Charan records into database, let's check in that table, execute. Right now this user registration table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the Charan details, new user registration. See here we got a message Charan user is successfully registered, and also notice we got the login link button control. Let's check the Charan details are inserted or not in the user registration table. I'm executing the table. See here we got the Charan user registration table is successfully inserted. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in Windows application, first we'll create a new table in SQL Server Management Studio. Let me expand this root folder. Databases. The new DB database is my user database I want to create. The new DB database is a user database I want to create a new table in this database. Let me expand this new DB database as well as the tables folder. Now let's create the table, new DB, right click the new DB, new query, create table user registration is a table name. The columns I'm adding UID, which is a user ID, integer type, not null. I'm adding primary key, and also I'm adding the identity column, which is the auto generate column. Username and varchar 50, comma, user password and varchar 50, user repassword and varchar 50, gender cat, email and varchar 150, and the location and varchar 50. Let's execute to create a table. Execute, and we got a message command completed successfully. Let's check the user registration table is created or not in this new DB database. I'm refreshing the folder, the tables folder. Here we got the user registration. Let's browse this table, right click the table name, select top 1000 rows. And here we got the results of this newly created user registration table. Right now this table contains 0 rows. Now let's insert a new user details into this table. For this video tutorial I'm creating a new Windows application. Go to File, New, Project, and from the templates I'm selecting Windows, and Windows Forms application I have selected, and the .NET framework I'm using 4.6.1. The application name is new user registration is a file name. Click OK. The project name, sorry. And here we got the form 1 design page of the newly created project. Let me expand this form 1 design page. Now in this form 1 design page I'm adding the user registration controls. Open toolbox. I'm expanding all Windows forms. The first one, the label I'm adding, which is a header tag. Press F4. I'm changing the label to new user registration, and I'm changing the font to 25. After that, let's add the controls. Open toolbox, the label control. The first label control, F4. The name I'm changing to username. Let's copy and paste. Second one is a password. The third one is a repassword. F4. Email. F5. Gender. And the last label is the location. F4. After adding the labels, now I'm adding the text box controls. Open toolbox, come to the bottom. Here is the text box control. Let's add that one. The first text box control, F4. I'm changing the text box name, text, uname. Control C, Control V. The second text box control is a password. Text, password. Let's add the repassword text box control. Text, repassword. The fourth one is the email. Text, email. And for the gender, I'm using the radio button controls. The gender is the male and female. Open toolbox, the radio button control. F4, go to properties. I'm changing the radio rat male. Come to the bottom, I'm changing the label is a text male. Control C, Control V. The second radio button is a female. And the radio button name I'm changing to rad female. And the last one is a location. For that I'm using a drop down control. Open toolbox. In Windows application there is no drop down control. You have to use a combo box. Let's add the combo box. Let me expand this form and design page a little bit more. Notice there is a small button on the combo box which is a combo box task. Click edit items. I'm adding the country name, location, India, USA, UK, Australia, and the last country I'm adding Japan. Click OK. After that, I'm adding one button control to insert the records. Open toolbox, the button control. Let's add the button control. Press F4. The button name I'm changing to but submit, and the text of the button control I'm changing to new user registration. After the button control, I am adding a label control to display the message the records are inserted successfully or not. Let's open toolbox again, add the label control, press F4. I'm changing the label name to LAB message, and the text of the label I'm making null. After that, I'm adding the last control is the link button. Once the user registers successfully, I want to display the login link button control. So open toolbox, I'm using link label, click that one. Here this is the link label I'm adding here. Press F4. The link label I'm changing to login. The font I'm changing to 10, and the link label name I'm changing to LNK login. That's it, we have done the designing part. Now the leftover is the coding part. Now double click the button control to write the code. Here we got the button click event. Before writing the coding part in button click, first we will import the namespaces using system.data.sql client. The next namespace I'm adding using system.configuration. The system.configuration namespace by default in Windows application is not available in our project references folder. If I expand the references folder, notice there is no any system.configuration namespace. So let's add that configuration namespace. Highlight the reference, right click that one, add reference. In the assemblies framework, find the system.configuration. Here it is. Select the checkbox system.configuration, click OK. And notice the system.configuration is added into our project references folder. Let's minimize this folder. After that, in the form one, the first condition, I want to make the visible the link button login control is I want to hide that one. So let's add that one. Link login dot visible is equals to false. So after that, open Server Explorer. Let's add our database in this data connections. Right click the data connections, add connection. I'm adding SQL server name. After adding SQL server name, I'm selecting my database name. My database name is new DB. I have selected test connection. Is succeeded. OK. OK. And here the new db.dbo is added under data connections. Now we require the data source of this new db. For that, right click the new db.dbo, go to properties. In the properties, the connection string contains the data source. Copy the data source, open Solution Explorer. In the project, there is app.config file. Open that one. In the app.config file, inside the configuration, I'm adding connection strings. Add name my connection string. I'm pasting the data source which I have copied. Provider name system.data.sql client. After adding the connection string in the app.config file, switch back to the code behind. Let's start the coding part in the button click event string. Main con is equals to configuration manager dot connection strings. Between double quotes, I'm adding the connection string name, which is in the app.config file. The name my connection, copy that one, paste here. Dot connection string SQL connection, SQL con is equals to new SQL connection. I'm adding main con. After that, I'm adding the SQL query. String SQL query is equals to, here the SQL query is the insert statement. Insert into, the table name is dbo.user_registration. Just copy this one, paste here, values. Let's add the column names. At uname, upwd user password, at user password, at gender, at email, and the last one is the location. Semicolon. After that, let's open the connection string SQL con.open method, close the connection string SQL con.close method. Now between this open and close, I'm adding SQL command. SQL com is equals to new SQL command, which takes two parameters. The first one is the SQL query, the command text SQL query, comma. The second parameter is the connection object, which is this one, SQL con. Let's add that one also. After that, SQL com dot parameters dot add with value, between double quotes. The add with value takes two parameters. The first one is a string parameter name. The parameter name is at uname. Copy this one, paste here, comma. And the second parameter is the object value. Here the object is a text box control. We are getting the value. So text uname dot text property, semicolon. I have 4 text box controls: username, password, repassword, and email. So the second one is a upwd user password, the column name, and the text box name is a text pwd.text, user repassword. Copy this one and paste here, text user repassword.text. The next one is the email. Copy this one, text email.text. After that, for gender, I'm using radio button controls. So before SQL command, I'm adding string gender is equals to, I'm adding the radio button control mail dot checked. If the radio button mail is checked, question mark, between double quotes I'm adding M, column, between double quotes I'm adding female or female, semicolon. Let's add this object at gender. I'm adding the gender object. And the last one is the location. At location. For location, we are using the combo box control. So combo box 1 dot text property. After that SQL com dot execute non-query method. Once the records are inserted, once the user details are inserted successfully, I want to display the message. For that, I have user, the label lab message dot text property is equals to user plus, I'm adding the text uname dot text between double quotes, is successfully registered, semicolon. After display the message, I want to show the login control also. The login control name is dot visible is equals to true. That's it. We have written the code to insert the new user details into your SQL Server database. And now switch back to the design mode and notice here the password and repassword. I want to validate the password and repassword both are same or not. So what I'm doing, I'm highlighting the repassword, press F4. In the properties of the text repassword, notice the fourth option is events. Select that one, go to top. Here the event name is a leave. Just double click that one. It will generate the leave event for the text repassword. If text password.text is not equals to text repassword.text. Now in this if condition, if the password and repassword is not matching, I want to display that. For that I'm using message box.show between double quotes password is not matching. After that I want to focus a cursor focus method at the text repassword, and the last one is a return, semicolon. That's it. I have done the coding part. Now it's time to check the results. Start. And here we got the output. Now let's enter new user registration. The username I'm entering the Charan. The password is Charan123 Charan. Now the repassword I'm entering the wrong one. If I click tab, see here we got an alert message, password is not matching. Click OK. Let's add the correct password Charan123 and the email charan@gmail.com. The gender I'm selecting male and the location is India. Now before insert these Charan records into database, let's check in the table, execute. Right now this user registration table contains 0 rows. Let's insert the Charan details, new user registration. See here we got a message Charan user is successfully registered, and also notice we got the login link button control. Let's check the Charan details are inserted or not in the user registration table. I'm executing the table. See here we got the Charan user registration table is successfully inserted. In part 2 video tutorial I will show you how to create the Windows login form.